Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Health Now program at the First Seventh-day Adventist Church of Paterson. We want to wish you all a very happy Sabbath for those of you who are joining us locally, as well as those of you who are joining us overseas at our various locations. We welcome you. We thank you for taking the time to join us. We have an exciting program that will be starting tonight. As many of you have been hearing about it, our Health Now program, God's Plan for Abundant Living. And we have a very special guest that we have been featuring as part of our promotion throughout the various weeks leading up to tonight, Dr. Orlando Thomas. He has joined us and will be with us for this evening as well as tomorrow throughout the Sabbath on Sunday as well as Monday. So we want you to give him your full attention. We invite you to send us your questions, and we look forward to engaging with you as Dr. Thomas shares from his perspective as a medical physician and practitioner. So we look forward to engaging you, and we welcome you again. And at this time, we will have a special music, and then we will move into our program.
Good evening, everyone. Every day they pass me by. I can see it in their eyes. Empty people filled with care. Headed who knows where. On they go through private pain, leaving fear to fear. Laughter eyes their silent cries. Only Jesus hears. People need the Lord. People need the Lord. At the end of broken dreams, He's the open door. People need the Lord. People need the Lord. When will we realize that people need the Lord? We are called to take the light to a world where wrong seems right. What could be too great a cost for sharing life with one who's lost? Through His love, our hearts can see all the grief they bear. They must hear the words of life. Only we can share. People need the Lord. People need the Lord. At the end of broken dreams, He's the open door. People need the Lord. People need the Lord. When will we realize that we must give our lives for people needs the Lord. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much for that beautiful rendition, Sister Debbie, as we give God all the honor, all the glory, and all the praise because He is worthy. Happy Sabbath, everyone. And thank you so much for joining us for the Health Now series. We have something very special in store for you. We are going to ask you to do one thing for us, and that is to share this link. So if you're joining us, and I do see persons commenting in the chat, please take a moment to share this link with all your friends, all your family. Let's put this on our social media platforms. Let's post this to our WhatsApp status because tonight we have a very interesting topic. Have you ever wondered why you are sick? Why do we get sick? You do not want to miss this presentation. As we move forward, we are going to invite now Elder Tyrrell to lead us into prayer. Welcome, Elder Tyrrell. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We're happy you're here.
Glad to have you, Sister Paterson. Let us pray. As Sister Debbie sings, people need the Lord. When we will realize that we should give our life for people need the Lord. Let us pray. Father in heaven, I'm so grateful this evening, Lord, that we can come in your presence to give you thanks. We realize, oh God, that we are nothing without you and we cannot live without you. So we are so happy that we can connect with you, dear God. And even one more time this evening, another Sabbath, God, as the Sabbath begins, thank God that we can come in your presence to embark upon your love and your mercies and your grace, oh God, to be refreshed with your words, Heavenly Father, and to know that we are nothing without you. As we come this evening, oh God, within this health series, we realize, Heavenly Father, that without health, we are nothing. And oh God, we realize also that when we are spiritually healthy, we also should be physically healthy. So we come this evening to be refreshed with your words, dear God, because in Jeremiah 29 and verse 11, the Bible reminds us that you have a plan for our life, dear God. And one of those plans is to keep us healthy and to keep us, to prosper us and to keep us in the right mind. And we cannot be in the right mind unless we are connected with good health. So this evening, oh God, we are so happy. We are so fortunate to come to join in your presence, to learn more of how to be healthy so that we can be physically healthy, spiritually healthy, and mentally healthy. In 3 John 1 and verse 2 says, Beloved, I pray that all may go well with you and that you may be in good health, just as it is well with your soul. So, God, we ask this evening, as Pastor Thomas presented to us this evening, to help us, oh God, to take how to take care of our bodies, how what to eat and what not to eat, what to put in our bodies, knowing that this body is not ours. It is yours, oh God. We are brought with a price, and you ask us to keep this body healthy and to glorify you in our body. So whatever we eat or we drink, oh God, you're asking us to do it with all our might so that we can present ourselves mentally and physically, emotionally, and spiritually healthy. May you bless this program this evening. May you bless all the participants, oh God. May you put your words in Pastor Thompson as he presented to us, that we, as we listen, we will not move away or walk away this evening being the same that we came. But, oh God, we will go with a new mind, a renewed mind, to continue to go forward, to present ourselves healthy before you, that the Holy Spirit can dwell within us. Thank you for your blessings, and bless this program, and bless all those who come on to listen. May you bless them, I pray. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen and amen. Bless the Lord.
Amen. Thank you, Elder Terrell. At this time, I would like to introduce Dr. Thomas. For those of you who do not know him, I want to give you a little bit of information about his background so that we can all be in agreement that Dr. Thomas is well qualified to speak with us today. Dr. Thomas is a board certified physician. He holds a bachelor's degree of medicine from the University of West Indies. He's also a certified functional medicine physician from the Institute of Functional Medicine in the United States, and receiving those certifications from 2016 through 2019. His specific skills involve surgery, family medicine, functional medicine, and shockwave therapy. Some specific highlights about his background in his path to the field of medicine: he was the head boy for his school in 1996 through 1997. He was also the school's challenge quiz captain in 1996 and 1997. He was also the Alcan Jamaican Scholarship recipient from 1997 through 2002. He was also the Dr. Normal Sinclair Memorial Scholarship recipient in 1998, the Ralph Lauren Scholarship recipient in 1999, and the University of West Indies Guild of Students Honor Award recipient in 2000 as well. Dr. Thomas has a range of experience working in the medical field, specifically in the hospital setting. He has worked at the Spanish Town Hospital, the Linstead Hospital, the Andrews Memorial Hospital, and presently at the St. Thomas Medical Center since 2008. Some important and most notable achievements in his personal and professional life include working as a motivational speaker for thousands of young folks in 4 parishes. He's a social media influencer with almost 500,000 followers and whose videos have been viewed over 30 million times. He's also the first elder of Brendan SDA Church, and he's also contributed to many articles in the Gleaner and Observer on health specifically. He's a guest speaker and presenter at numerous radio and television programs locally in Jamaica, and also the founder of Be Health Group with members in 25 countries. And finally, he has over 100, or at least has contributed to over 100 free health clinics over the past 20 years. Dr. Thomas, we welcome you. We are excited to hear from you. And we hope that we are all going to be blessed by your presentation, not just tonight, but in the coming days. So welcome, Dr. Thomas, and we turn it over to you.
Good evening, everyone. Happy Sabbath. It is a pleasure to be here in Paterson, in New Jersey, in the United States. And I'm sure there are people joining from all over the world. So let me first say good night to the members of the Paterson SDA Church. And thank you so much to Pastor Francis, who had this in mind for over a year to have me here. And it has finally materialized. So I greet him and his family, Sister Francis. And I greet all the elders of the Paterson SDA Church who was able to put this program together. I also want to greet all of our friends who are online, people who are joining from within the United States here, persons who are joining from the UK, from Jamaica, from the Cayman Islands, from all over the world, on Facebook, on YouTube, and even on TikTok. People have been joining us and are joining us tonight to share in this program. So it's my pleasure to welcome you all. Now, for the weekend that is beginning now, so we're going to be on for Friday, Sabbath, Sunday, and Monday night. So we have a treat for you. There's going to be a wealth of health information shared surrounding functional medicine, lifestyle medicine, and Adventist health message. These 3 schools of thought, which are not different much in their core values, are going to be brought together to show you the power that you have to take control of your health. You do not need to remain sick or become sick. You do not need to be a slave to medication and multiple procedures and endless amount of spending at the doctor. You can take control of your health, regain your health, and in ways that you never thought even possible. This weekend, I'm going to show you how I've been able to help thousands of people get well using simple methods of healing, the real healers of sunshine and water and air and nutrition and exercise and rest and stress management and trust in God. We're going to show you from a scientific perspective how these things work and how you can use them to improve your health. So we're going to put on screen our first slide. And the topic for tonight is, why do we get sick? And most of us never really stop to ask this very pertinent and important question: why do you get sick? It's a question that if you begin to really ask, the answers that pop up might surprise you. But in surprising you, those answers will give you a foothold, a entry point into getting well. So don't just accept that you're sick and you need to get an intervention in terms of medication or surgery. Ask the question why you're sick and then begin to answer it. Tonight, we're going to ask and answer that question as we move to our next slide to look at the number of different things that may contribute to you getting sick, and there are multiple. Now, there are things that may occur before you're born or early in life. I'm going to talk about those first. And then there are things that occur during your life, such as toxins that you may encounter. We're going to look at those. Nutrition. At one point in our history, we were undernourished, not getting enough food, and there was an epidemic of malnutrition. Now we are overnourished, but we are poorly nourished because we are eating so many empty calories and food loaded with things that are going to make us sick. We're going to look at deficiencies. We're going to look at stress and how those may contribute to illness. I'm going to look at infections and how to combat and also prevent yourself from getting sick. So we're going to move on now. So on the next slide, you're going to see something really important. This is the heart of functional medicine. Functional medicine is root cause medicine. And that's what I'm going to be trumpeting over and over the next few days. Root cause medicine. Now, root cause medicine understands that every disease has a cause. The book of Proverbs in chapter 26 and verse 3 tells us that there is no curse that may come upon you that do not have a cause. Every disease that comes upon you has a cause. And if you begin to unravel what the cause is, then you begin to have an option to reverse. Now, in the picture, as you see, is a faucet that's overflowing, and the floor, as a result, is wet. And there are these two persons dressed in white coats, wearing stethoscopes around their necks, who are mopping up the floor. But if you notice clearly, the faucet is still running, the pipe is still running. Now, you think that it is common sense that if you come into such a room, the first thing to do would be to turn off the faucet. Right you are. And then you begin the process of mopping up the floor. But so much of medicine is focused on treating symptoms rather than addressing underlying cause. And so we begin to treat patients for 1 year, 2 years, for a lifetime, because we have not removed the cause and we are mopping up the floor while the sink is still overflowing. Tonight, we're going to show you what those sinks are and turn them off. All right, so move to our next slide, where we now look at genetics. I'm going to briefly give you a genetic masterclass, or a quick lesson. This is something that I hated when I was going to school, but I've come to love it because I understand that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. You are designed from the inside out by a very intelligent and intentional creator. Nothing inside your body was put there by accident. Everything was deliberately designed so that you could function in the way that you should function. Now, inside your cells is what we call your DNA library, your chromosome. And in every one of your 10 trillion cells, you have DNA that have instructions as to how your body should function, and how you should look, what color hair you should have, what amount of enzymes you should make, how long you should live. Yes, the length of your life, to a large extent, is genetically determined, barring some unforeseen accident. But if you should live a natural life, the end of your life is written in your DNA. So much so that we have tests now that can tell you with a great degree of accuracy when you are going to die. Now, you might not want to hear that result, but the great news is that we know that even though we know this genetic information is laid down, we previously thought that you had no control over these genetic blueprints. But we now know through epigenetics that you have a control. The next slide you'll see where we have the fact that genetics is thought now to load the gun, but it's your lifestyle that puts the trigger. It means that the amount of stress you have as opposed to meditation can both influence genetic expression. So what I mean is, suppose you were born with a gene for diabetes. This gene may be prevalent in your family, but not everyone in your family must get diabetes. It depends on what you do in your life that will determine if you get sick or not. So genetics, yes, may put you at risk. And so we see stress may cause genetic expression to go in one direction, when meditation may cause it to be in another direction. We see where, belief systems, what you believe, can influence your genetic expression. It's said that you get in life not what you want, but what you expect. We see where the food you consume may cause your genes to be expressed when they're disease-causing genes, and may cause health-giving genes to be expressed. Yes, we see where if you live in a city, for example, that kind of fast-paced, stressful life surrounded by lots of pollutants is going to make you sicker, as opposed to living in the country and connected with nature. We see where just thoughts that you have being negative and looking at the cup half empty as opposed to half full, that can determine if you get sick or well, as opposed to if you follow what Paul says, that you should think on things that are happy and joyful and things that are of good report. These things can cause diseases to vanish and health to come in your body. Now, as we move on, we see where, and this slide is really important, a study was done, a combination of Kaiser Institute and the Center for Disease Control in the US did a study, and they released the findings in what they call the Adverse Childhood Experiences Trial, or the ACE trial, ACE. Now, ACE trial followed kids for a number of years and looked at their childhood experiences and looked at their outcomes, the disease burden that they had as adults. Now, among the ACEs were three categories. They gave 1 point if you had an ACE. Were you the subject of physical abuse? Did you get exposed to emotional abuse? Were you abused sexually? Each of those would give you a point. Were you abused physically, so in terms of, were you neglected? Were you neglected physically? Were you in a home where you were not hugged and kissed and told that you were loved? If you were exposed to any of these things, then of course that's a point. If you had a relative who lived in your household who was incarcerated, that was seen as a negative child experience. If you were lived in a house where somebody smoked or drank alcohol or abused any kind of drugs, that's an ACE. If you had a relative living with you who had a mental disorder, if you were exposed to a divorce or separation in your family, and if you witness parental abuse, if you witnessed domestic abuse, each of these things we found contributed to the onset of disease later in life. So for persons who had 3 or more ACEs, their risk of hypertension was doubled. If you had 6 or more ACEs, your risk of suicide was 7 times the baseline. Your risk of cancers, diabetes, your risk of arthritis, your risk of chronic pain, migraines, all of these diseases that we see later in life were impacted by how much adverse child experience that you were exposed to. So now we have to talk to two sets of persons. One, to the parents who are on the platform here watching. So you have been given children to raise, and what you do in their childhood will to a large extent influence what happens in your life 40, 50, 60 years later. Do you understand the impact of what you do in your child's life? Now, we found that even before the child is born, in pregnancy, we found that traits that you have, so young men, for example, who were exposed to alcohol and drinking and smoking and were not productive, their children, when they got women pregnant, and their children were more likely to be drug abusers and drug pushers and criminals. Yes. So based on habits, if you as a mother exercise before and during your pregnancy, your child was more likely to be a child who was into fitness and health, ate healthy, and had good health-seeking behavior. So parents and prospective parents, think carefully about what you do with your children, in front of your children, and what they're exposed to. It could mark them, or it could make their life productive for many, many years to come. Now, the other persons I want to speak to are those who are now suffering from the illnesses I mentioned: depression, suicidal thoughts, hypertension, diabetes, cancers. Could it be that your childhood experiences would have influenced the diseases you're having now? And is it that you need to maybe get counseling, go talk to your parents, reconcile what happened to you, learn to move on, get rid of the trauma? Now, I sit in my office and I speak to women who are 40, 50, 60 years old, and sometimes I remember with tears in their eyes things that happened in their childhood. They haven't gotten over them. In Chinese medicine, for example, they have linked deep emotional trauma to breast cancer. So yes, part of your getting well is to understand that trauma from an early age and throughout your life will contribute to illness. And you need to make sure that you are getting treatment, getting therapy, but more importantly, forgiving and letting go. Unforgiveness is said, it's like, seeing your enemy drinking poison, you drink the poison and expect your enemy to die. Forgiveness is not for the other person, it's for you. When you let go of the hurt and pain and forgive, you begin to heal. So forgiveness should be something that everybody should do. Why would you want to hurt your own self? Anyway, we're moving on. Some other things in our slides. Now, here we talk about a couple of behaviors that we know will cause illnesses. And these are things that may occur from childhood because of your experiences. And so your lack of interest in physical activity, your smoking or alcohol addiction, your drug use, your lackadaisical attitude at work, all of these things have their root in childhood experiences. So address those things with your psychologist, with your therapist. Next slide. Now, we're going to talk about toxins. Toxins is the next set of things that cause us to be ill. And we have to look at this, because if you are sick and you ignore this part of the presentation, your chances of getting well, if you have toxins in your body, is very small. So this is not an inconsequential part of my presentation. Now, toxins are everywhere. Yeah, they are everywhere. And your body is designed to get rid of toxins. So we talk about detox, for example. We're not talking about necessarily buying a bottle of colon cleanse or buying a bottle of, milk thistle. What we're talking about really is enhancing your body's ability to get rid of toxins, things that do not belong in your body, things that were introduced into the environment for different reasons. And we now know that in the last 50 years, over 25,000 new chemicals have been introduced into our water supply, into our food, and into the air, and we're exposed to them. But your body has a skin, which is the largest organ in your body, made to detox. So by sweating, you get rid of toxins. By bathing, you get rid of toxins. Yes, by going into a sauna, you're going to get rid of toxins. Your kidneys are made to detox your body. So by drinking water and passing urine, lots of urine, you detox. Your colon is meant to detox your body. By eating lots of fiber and drinking water and passing stool twice a day, you detox your body that way. Your lungs is an organ of detoxification. By deep breathing and getting rid of carbon dioxide and other gases from your body, you are detoxing. Yeah, your brain detoxes itself, and this occurs when you're sleeping. So good night rest is part of your detox protocol. So when we talk about detox, you need to get these basic things right. Now let's look at some toxins that may occur in the body that may be exposed. You may be exposed to. Now I'm going to go from some basic things that you may not have thought about. Now, every single day, we deliberately put toxins on our skin. Now, I often prescribe for my patients like pain medication. And sometimes my elderly patients don't like taking another set of pills. So I give them a pain rub, which I apply to their skin, and it is effective. Do you know why? Because your skin is absorptive. Whatever you put on your skin, it will absorb into your body and it will go into your bloodstream. So have you thought about that? The lotion you put on your skin with 25 ingredients, many of them are chemicals, maybe one natural ingredient in it, maybe water, all get into your bloodstream. You wouldn't drink your lotion, would you? No, but you put it on your skin, and all of those chemicals that you see on the screen gets absorbed into your bloodstream day after day, month after month, year after year. Do you think this might have an effect on your health at some point? There are some natural alternatives that we could look at that are going to be very helpful. Before we get to natural alternatives, this is another one that you could look at. What you use to wash your clothes. You never thought about this. So when you wash your clothes with these chemical-laden chemicals, and you sweat and your body, your clothes get wet, you are absorbing toxins from your clothes into your body. Next slide. So when you're looking at skincare, you need to be thinking carefully about what you choose, and there are not lots of natural health options. So this is one brand, for example, that has much less chemicals and almost all natural ingredients, so silicone-free, dye-free, parabens-free, petroleum-free, all disease-causing agents in most brands. Native is one brand that you can use. For skincare, I tend to choose things like coconut oil, olive oil. Those are my go-to. You might want to go for shea butter. Next slide. And for your household cleaning, there are brands like Ecos, which offer almost chemical-free, environmentally friendly chemicals, yes, that you might use to clean, which are basically the same cost as the brand name ones that are going to be poisoning your body. Next slide. Now, for skin detox, as I mentioned, you need to use your natural ingredients. I recommend highly bathing using aloe vera on your skin. Aloe vera lathered on your skin. It could be used as a lotion or moisturizer when you go into bed, or being used as a mask, used to scrub. These are ways, and it's here on screen, you have a coconut oil and olive oil and so on. These are things that you can use that are natural, things you can eat that can go on your skin. So move on to the next one. And here is a long list of healthy ingredients. So now it's time to take a screenshot to see where on your skin you can use coconut oil that kills germs. Tea tree oil dropped into your coconut oil kills funguses. Apple cider vinegar can be used on your skin as a cleansing agent. Raw honey is a very good cleansing agent for your skin to kill germs. Sea salt. Today, I was in a salt float where I went into a sauna. I was able to float in a bath of salt water. The bath contained 50 pounds of salt. And so I was able to float on it effortlessly for an whole hour. And this is a way that you can actually detox your body and your skin and kill germs. You may not be able to go to a salt spa, but you can do your own thing at home. Soak in Epsom salt, soak in regular salt. These things are what you use to detox your body and cleanse your skin. Next slide. Now, you are exposed to toxins in the food you eat, and many of them are consumed inadvertently. You don't understand that, for example, your cookware may be a source of toxins. So cookware that includes aluminum, non-stick pans, these are sources of toxins. The better options to use are going to be glass, ceramic, and maybe earthen pots, cast iron. These are better options, more expensive, but over the long term, you're better off. Now, you are going to find that there are foods that may make your body more toxic. Processed dairy, which contain lots of antibiotics, lots of hormones, homogenized, pasteurized, not great options. Gluten-containing food, which I'll talk about over and over again. Gluten is a big source of toxicity as it opens channels in your gut, allow toxins to enter. Itself is an allergen, itself is a cause of gut, itself is a source of pain for many people. Itself is a cause for obesity and high blood sugar. The most abundant toxin that you could consume, the most friendly toxin, the most tasty toxin, of course, is sugar, and that causes a whole host of conditions, which I'll talk about over the weekend. There are many fake fats that you will enjoy as, this is not butter, this is margarine, this is maybe trans fats, which are used to deep fry foods. These are fake fats, which are gonna be sources of toxins and poison your body. Soy food, which is gonna be a sore point for my Adventist friends. Now, I must touch on this because soy, in its natural state, how God made it, can be part of a very healthy diet. It's a good source of protein. It's a good source of soy as a flavonoids. Actually, make sure that your hormones are balanced. But, big but, in 2025 and for the last 15-20 years, almost all soy on the market is genetically modified. If you buy soy in a store which you didn't grow, 95% chance that you're getting a genetically modified food that's sprayed with Roundup. Yes, that is genetically engineered to resist Roundup, that has lots of phytic acid. Yes, lots of goitrogens to inhibit uptake of iodine into your body. So you're going to end up with thyroid problems. So soy is a very unhealthy food in 2025. It is genetically modified. Now, on top of that, soy in its natural state isn't tasty. So we process soy using lots of chemicals to make them into, veggie burgers and veggie meat and veggie sausage. It is the most, I would say, many people eat these things as alternative to meats, not realizing that it were better if you're eating the meats. The amount of chemicals you're consuming is really mind-boggling. Soy cannot be in 2025 part of a healthy diet. It is loaded with toxins, and I have seen so many persons who have gotten better, who have improved their health, improved their absorptive capacity, improved their skin health, improved their energy levels by cutting out this food that we love so much. Next slide. Yes, so there are also additives to foods which are going to be problematic. In particular, I'm going to focus now on a dye. So there are many dyes, but the most popular one is one called Red Number 40. Red Number 40 is found in Skittles, in M&Ms, in Pepsi, Gatorade, Doritos, Mountain Dew, all of these things. They have it on the label. It's there. So I'm not castigating anybody. Ketchup, gummy vitamins, chewing gum. Red Number 40 has three main areas of concern. It's been proven to be a cancer-causing agent. Now, in the dosages in one gum, that may not give you cancer, but over time, the bioaccumulation of Red Number 40 definitely will contribute to your risk of cancer. It harms your gut health. So Red Number 40 is a poison for your gut bacteria, a poison for your stomach lining and your intestinal lining. Red Number 40 has been proven in many studies to increase the risk of hyperactivity and learning disorder in children who are the main consumers of snacks and juices with this poison in it that's in your food. So what do? Eat whole foods, make healthy juices for your kids, drink water and coconut water, take your vitamins from healthy sources. Do not take gummies. These things are not going to be part of your health program. If you want to remain healthy and live long, you're going to need to cut out things containing Red Number 40, Blue Number 10, all of these nice looking chemicals that are made to cause what you eat to look like food, smell like food, taste like food, to trick you that is food. But it's not. It's going to make you sick. Next slide. Yeah, so here are a number of other chemicals that are added to food. So Red Number 3 is linked to thyroid cancer, yes, and chromosomal damage, which links to other cancers. Yellow Number 5, hyperactivity, thyroid problem. Yellow Number 6, hyperactivity again, and kidney problems. Green Number 3, bladder and testicular tumors. Blue Number 1, hyperactivity. Blue Number 2, chromosomal damage, bladder tumors. So these things are on the labels on your food. If you take a look at the labels, they're there, and you're consuming them willingly, cooperating with food companies and with other people who just want to make money by waving pretty things in front of you, telling you it's food, and you are just so cooperative with making them rich and making yourself sick. This is not going to be how you are going to be healthy in 2025 and beyond. Next slide. So what do? I did mention that you're going to be detoxing your body of all these things. So first step is to stop consuming. So if you're going to clean house, you're going to, stop putting trash in. Yes, so switch to a healthy diet that is primarily plant-based, based on whole foods that are organic. And yes, you're going to say they're expensive. Well, when you get sick, and I'm a doctor, so I know that's very expensive. So don't be, what my grandma would say, penny wise and pound foolish. Don't watch extra dollar you'll spend now and forget the thousands that you'll spend later on. Even if you have insurance, healthcare in any country, especially this country I'm in, is the leading cause of bankruptcy. You know this. Now, a detox, gut detox, which the video for the detox is actually on TikTok. So those on TikTok, you could follow the page now. On YouTube, follow so you can get access to it. So the gut detox formula, which includes aloe vera as a main ingredient, turmeric and ginger and citrus and so on. These things help to get rid of toxins from your body. Drinking lots of warm water. So first thing in the morning, wake up, a glass of warm water with a little pink salt added, mineralize your body and detox your gut. Coconut water, excellent to improve your hydration and to flush toxins through your kidneys. Vegetable broths, which are soups, excellent way to feed your colonic health, colonic cells, and feed a good bacteria. Green juices, especially things like cilantro and celery, these things pull heavy metals from your system. Of course, your fruits scrub your colonic wall, your probiotics, which are going to be great to give your bacteria the ability to now remove toxins from your body. Slippery elements are a great way to heal your stomach lining, acid reflux and stomach ulcers, great way. So these are health things that you can do to improve your detox. Next slide. Move on from that one. We mentioned that one already, that you should use ceramic, cast iron, clay. There's a chemical that's ubiquitous now. It's everywhere and you are exposed to it, and I want to expose it because you may not have thought about it. You may have heard about it in passing. It's called BPA, short for bisphenol A. Bisphenol A or BPA is a toxin that's a hormone disruptor responsible for and linked to many hormone disorders, infertility in men and women, many cases of chronic illnesses, and you get BPA from plastics, especially when hot liquids are in plastics. So hot liquids in plastics, so plastic bottles for water, plastic bottles for whatever, the cover for the coffee you get from those coffee shops. When you expose, especially if you have like a bottle of water and put it in the sun, the levels of BPA in that is enormous. Now, manufacturers have gotten wind that we are talking about BPA, so they create some BPA-free plastic. And guess what they contain? BPB, which is worse. So we're going to talk about BPB. And so I was fortunate enough when I went to Italy last week, I went into the stores and guys, the soda bottles were glass. The water bottles were glass. The bottle for every juice in the stores were glass. So Italy has gotten the message. Parts of Europe, unfortunately in Jamaica, we are moved from glass to plastic, which is far worse. And I'm hoping that with advocacy and with time, we can be getting more glass and more other healthy. So if you are consumer of water, get yourself a water bottle that's made from stainless steel on the inside and store your water in that rather than go buy a $50 bottle off the shelf every day and drink from that. That's not a healthy way to go. Plastics need to go. And we're going to talk about it until things change. Where you are, there may be not many options, but you can choose to do what you need to do. Now, there are many effects of plastic, as I mentioned, but I'm going to skip on from that because we have found plastic to be so problematic. Next slide. Yes. In the last 20 years, we have noticed an epidemic of something called fatty liver disease. In the prior 100 years, this was seen in alcoholics. But now I'm seeing people in my practice every single day when I do ultrasounds, every single day, bar none. When I do an ultrasound, I'm seeing somebody new with fatty liver. And when I ask, these people do not consume alcohol. So what's causing it? Well, a couple of things. Number one being high fructose corn syrup. That's a new kid on the block to replace sugar. So sugar is now made from corn in the form of high fructose corn syrup. It used to sweeten almost everything that you love. all of those juices, all of those gums, all of those sweets, all of those snacks, high fructose corn syrup, it gives you diabetes, obesity, and it damages your liver. So read your labels or do like me. If something is in a package, avoid it. Eat whole foods, eat real fruits, eat real vegetables, drink real water, drink coconut water. The more chemicals you consume, the more likely you get sick. I'm just going over these things because they're interesting, but the safe way is to have most of your diet being whole foods in the form God made them. Next slide. Now, high fructose corn syrup is known to cause Alzheimer's, memory loss, weight gain, diabetes, raises your cholesterol, raises your blood pressure. It causes iron deficiency as it blocks absorption of iron from your intestine. It can damage your liver, as I mentioned. It causes skin issues, so many of the eczemas and dermatitis. It causes coronary artery disease. It damages your immune system. It speeds up the aging process. So you see some people who are, consumers of these things will get fat, and then they try to lose weight. When they lose weight, they look like they mash up. Their skins would have aged. It was stretched out by the fat, and so they look young. But once they lose weight, they don't look so good anymore. High fructose corn syrup. Next slide. Now, there are other names that this chemical might fall under. So you may not see HFCS on the label. You might see fructose, you might see agave nectar, you might see, various other names that it may come under. You may see fructose, which, to a person who is scientific may say, this is healthy, this is fruit sugar. That's how they label the labels. You may see various things. So you need to be aware that these things are hidden under. And you could go on Google and look for what are the other names for high fructose corn syrup. What are the names for sugar? So sugar in many instances will be on labels as cane sugar, caramel, fructose, galactose, sucrose, yellow sugar, coconut sugar. They're all sugar. All sugar, all cause obesity, all cause diabetes, all cause cancer, all cause high cholesterol. It's not cholesterol in your food that causes high cholesterol. It's inflammatory foods with sugar and grains. Move on, next slide. MSG is another one. Monosodium glutamate. This is kind of the seasoning that's universally acceptable. It's what makes food taste great. It enhances the flavor of things. So that's what you find in your cup noodles, your chicken noodle soups, your various seasonings and spices. It is an artificial ingredient that has been linked to a whole host of problems, not the least of which is migraines and seizures and ADHD and obesity. Yes, MSG causes you to gain weight. And the more of these things you consume, it's just a matter of time before you get sick. Next slide. Wrapping up in a little bit, guys. So if you want to find foods with MSG, go to supermarket. Pick up any average product, whether it be snacks for kids, whether it be seasonings, whether it be soups, whether it be some pre-prepared dish. Go to an average restaurant, and most of the dishes are going to have MSG. Next slide. So the list of things that has MSG, just skip MSG and cause liver damage, that has high fructose corn syrup is going to be what is in packages. Packaged foods are ultra-processed foods that are processed to remove the fiber, because that's what's going to cause it to rot faster, remove sometimes the fats, and include more carbohydrate and chemicals to let the food not spoil, to last on the shelf for months and months. So your body can't break that down. Your body can't use that. That's going to make you sick. You want to stick to whole foods. Next slide. All right, so let's move on to your liver. To help your liver detox itself of all of these chemicals and poisons, you want to focus on a few things. Your liver needs lots of healthy fruit juices, lots of healthy vegetable juices. I don't generally recommend fruit juice. I recommend you eat the fruits. So fruits with the fiber, lots of vegetable juices or vegetable smoothies, lots of soup broths. The number one food for liver detox, number one food is going to be celery. Excellent. The number one herb is going to be milk thistle. Otherwise, you can use dandelion. Milk thistle is found everywhere. You can buy the pill form. That's the easiest form to take. And once a year, you take a 1 month of milk thistle. Your liver will thank you. That's the number one herb. Talk to anybody. Next slide. Let's talk about heavy metals. Heavy metals is not well known. There are some names like mercury that you find in your silver filling in your mouth, a toxin that poisons your brain, cadmium, that you may find in some, batteries and so on. Arsenic and lead. These are metals that are going to be found in lots of things that you use. They are found in the air from car exhaust fumes. They are found in your water. So you're going to be exposed to them. Mercury found in fish. If you love a lot of tuna and swordfish, a lot of sushi, you have mercury in your body. And it will increase the risk of Alzheimer's and headaches and dementia. So you need to detox. And the way to detox is by eating foods that are going to detox your body. The number one food for detoxing your body is going to be broccoli. Broccoli, guys, broccoli contains lots of sulforaphane. That's going to detox your body off heavy metals. Cilantro, another one, right? Garlic is a great detoxification agent. Going to consume lots of turmeric. And I heard recently turmeric increases your lead levels and so on, but it depends on where you get turmeric from. So we'll get to that in another presentation. Generally, you want to consume mostly organic foods because non-organic foods are going to contain lots of heavy metals again. And get a water filter. Get a water filter. If you're in Jamaica, there are lots of these filtration plants everywhere. People just go and buy their bottles of water and they get filtered water. If you don't have the access to that, you put a water filter on your main line at home and you use that water to drink and to bathe and to do whatever you're doing. That way you avoid these heavy metals. Next slide. All right, we're coming up to an end. We're going to allow you to ask questions when I'm finished. So I'm going to be finishing in another 10 minutes or so. So if you have metal poisoning, you may get some weird symptoms and belly cramps and pain and fatigue and brain fog and, tingling sensation in your hands and feet, heavy metal sensation in your tongue. There are a couple natural remedies, next slide, that you can use. One, we mentioned a few already, but cilantro and coriander and parsley and celery are great. So I mentioned those. Next slide. EDTA, ethylene and diamine tetraacetic acid is a great detoxification agent. You can buy that on Amazon. But I suspect that you want to check with your doctor to verify that you really have heavy metal toxicity. And it's going to be hard to do in most countries. In America here, they usually do saliva testing or hair testing or nail clipping to test for heavy metals. So there are these labs that can do them. A good functional medicine doctor can send you for a good detox screen to find out. And they have DMSO, another agent that we can use, and that's dimethyl sulfate. That can be used to sulfoxide, sorry, that can be used to detox your body. And of course, chlorophyll and zeolite are very popular natural detox that you can buy on Amazon. So I just take, chlorophyll and zeolite maybe like once for a week out of each quarter of the month, each quarter of the year, sorry, and that's ensure that my body is constantly detoxing. Let's go for that. Another one that I use sometimes is methylene blue, but you have to be careful with that one because you may get one that contains heavy metals. So you're gonna get food grade methylene blue, which is gonna be like from a company called Live Good. They have methylene blue, and so that's a great way to detox your body. Next slide. All right, I'm coming to the end. Now, when you're choosing foods, you want to choose foods that are going to be organic or free from pesticides. So there is this group, EWG, Environmental Working Group. They have a website, ewg.org. Certain countries don't have access to it. So they may need a VPN, but in the US, it's a US corporation. They go out every day and they go to supermarkets and shops and farms and they test foods. And on their website is a treasure trove of articles and lists of foods that are healthy, what they contain, how much fat, how much protein, how much toxins in them. And they release a list every year called the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15. In the Dirty Dozen, these foods, they are found consistently to have lots of pesticide residue on them. So if you're going to buy from this list, you must buy organic. So you must go to your Whole Food store. Do not buy these foods in regular supermarkets because you're going to get non-organic forms, right? And you're going to be loaded with toxins. So peaches, grapes, strawberries, cherries, spinach, apples, Brussels sprouts, cucumbers, tomatoes, apricots, lettuce, beans, green beans. If you're going to buy any of these foods, make sure that they are organic because 85% of peaches have been found to have pesticide residues on them. 80% of strawberries have pesticides. So when you eat strawberries that are not organic, they are going to be laden with pesticides. And over time, you're going to be a pesticide carrier. Next slide. So We have also the clean 15, which are foods that it doesn't matter if they're organic or not, you can eat them safely. Number one on the list always is avocado. Avocado tends not to be pesticide laden, so you can have it organic or non-organic. Sweet corn, pineapples, sweet peppers, onions, papayas, eggplants, asparagus, kiwi, cabbage, cauliflower, cantaloupe, broccoli, mushroom, honeydew melons. These foods tend to be free from pesticides, even if they're not organic. So you do have a list if you're not very well off and you don't want to go to the Whole Food store or to a farmer's market. Are there more slides? Next slide. Yes. It's also important that we recognize that toxicity may come to our brains from the amount of screen time we have. It doesn't just affect our eyes, it affects our sleep, it affects our thought process, increased risk of depression, increased risk of suicidal thoughts are rife because of our dependence and our addiction to phone screens. So it's important that in trying to preserve your health, you have a period of digital detox. Have a weekend where you turn off your phone, or even on a one date, you go with your friend on a date, turn off your phone and just focus on that conversation without any interruptions. When you're going to bed, put the phone downstairs so you can sleep free of any pings and beeps and blue lights and LED notifications. You know, when you go to church, leave your phone at home, carry a Bible. So if you find that you're exposed to these screens, you may want to do a digital detox every now and then. Next slide. We're coming to a close. The Bible says, this is Matthew chapter 5 and verse 30. It said, Jesus said, if thy right hand offend thee, cut it off and cast it from thee, for it is profitable for thee, for one of thy members should perish, than thy whole body be cast into hell. Now, this is in the context of habits that we might have, things that we might be addicted to. Jesus wanted us to get rid of from our life because he knew that it would cause to lose salvation. But I want to translate that message into tonight's presentation. There are things that you may love. I think that you may really enjoy, foods that you've been eating for many, many years. But they are going to cause you to die prematurely. But even worse, get sick. I believe getting sick and being sick for 20 years is worse than dying. I truly believe being in pain, being in Pampers in bed, having a stroke, watching your life pass by, having dementia and losing your memory and your love of your family and the knowledge of everything you've ever had. That's worse than death. I've not had the unfortunate experience of being badly ill, but I've been at the side of thousands of people who have been ill and who have been ill for 15, 20, 30 years, then died. And when they died, it's like a relief because they were going through so much suffering. There are things that you are doing, there are things that you are consuming, there are things that you are participating in that you might love, you might find convenient, you might find enjoyable, but they are leading to your slow demise. You're leading your way down to illness and eventually death, a slow, painful death. Why would you continue doing these things? I have so many people who are alcoholics, who are cigarette smokers, who are drug addicts, and they're better than most people. Reason being, they know they're addicts and they wish they could wake up tomorrow and do not have the desire for the things that they have. And when they get a chance to get free, they do make an effort to get free, and they sometimes are liberated from their addiction. But the worst kind of addicts are people who are addicted to sugar and high fructose corn syrup and sodas and don't know they're addicted, don't have a desire to change, right? And don't know what they're doing. Those are the worst kind of addicts, and most of us fall in that category where we are so converted mental that we have to live this way, that we just go along, cooperate with the devil, cooperate with big corporations, cooperate with big company and big pharma to kill us slowly while we enrich them. Tonight could be the turning point in your life where you say, no more, I've heard the message, I've heard the call, I'm gonna change, I'm gonna give up all of those things. And guys, when I post a video on TikTok about what people should not eat. You see the video, lots of you have seen the video, and read the comments. People are upset with me. How dare you, doc, say we shouldn't eat sugar and shouldn't eat this, and what we're gonna eat? They're upset because I tell them that these things are gonna kill them. They prefer, they say, I'm gonna do it anyway. Well, yes, but how you die is kind of important. You know, I've often asked a question. I'm finishing up, I'm closing now, guys. I've often asked a question in my audiences when I talk, who wants to live to 100 years old? You know, usually I get maybe 10% of hands go up. Usually, and that's a big amount. 10% of persons want to live 100 years. You know why? Because most people see 100 as being an age where they are debilitated, wearing pampers, in a wheelchair, in bed, being fed through a spoon or a straw. They are taking multiple medications, having had multiple surgeries, and they are useless. They are not just existing. And the reason for that is that you have been doing so many things so wrong. You're not supposed to go that way. There are so many people worldwide in this, what we call blue zones, in Loma Linda, in Okinawa in Japan, in Sardinia in Italy, in Nicoya in Costa Rica, in so many places that people are living to 100 in great health. Why? Because they avoid poison. They live healthy, they live close to nature, they drink natural water and coconut water. They have great friends, they don't have all these screens. And so being healthy is not a magic trick. You know the formula. You just need to accept that you are doing things wrong and your grandparents have been doing things wrong, and that's why your mother have pressure and sugar and she have medication now, because from she was a child, she's been eating flour and sugar and cornmeal and rice. Yeah. And that made her sick. Sickness is not a design of our Creator. You are designed to live long and healthy like Moses to 120 and die with the eyesight and your foot them to the word. So I've said a lot. I'm going to open the floor for a few questions on the platform here. So my moderator, Sister Paterson Francis, is going to take over and here and give us the questions that are pending. So guys on TikTok, just hold on a second. When I'm done here, I'm going to turn my attention to you to answer your questions. I'm going to answer questions on the platform that we are on here on YouTube and on Facebook. So are there questions? Oh, my elder.
Oh, Dr.
you're
Thomas, yes,
Okay.
I am. I will be sharing those questions with you. There's one question here from one of our members online. She said, I use Melaleuca products made from plants. Is this a good source? Any thoughts on that?
I'm familiar with Melaleuca products. Melaleuca has been, what I remember most about Melaleuca was their tea tree oil. That was like a favorite tea tree oil ever. So Melaleuca is a company that's been around for about 20 years, and they have been making healthy products at a premium price. And so, yes, most of the products are highly recommended and are found to be meeting the criteria for healthy products. Yes.
Okay.
But let me add that most of your diet should be from plants, natural foods made by nature. That's what most of your diet should consist of, and not mostly things from packages. All right. Next question.
So this is a question I'm just formulating here. I think many individuals may be sharing or thinking of this. What you've said a lot tonight that is frightening, sobering, but also hopeful, because I think when we think of the things that we can do, it gives us some hope. But for those of us who are doing these things consistently, it's quite frightening to see how much toxins we're putting in our bodies. So the question for you is, what specific steps can we take for those of us who are saying, this is a lot. We got to change our pots and pans. We got to completely eradicate all of these things that we've typically used in our diet and make some wholesale 100% change in our routine. Are there some specific steps that you can recommend or suggest that we take incrementally to at least make these gradual changes and introduce a wholesale revolution in the way we go about our health and diet, and ultimately get to that plateau where we can actually routinely do these things and get into some sort of a rhythm?
Well, the truth is, even myself, who's been doing this on the journey for so many years, I'm still improving every day and changing things as I go along. It's going to be hard to make 100% change in one go. So I practice what we call adding in the good stuff. So one of the first things I did was in the morning, my breakfast was no longer bread and egg and porridges and whatever. It was now a green smoothie, which I'll teach you guys to make on Sunday afternoon. I did do it live on TikTok last night. So I start my day 5 days a week with a green smoothie, which ensures my body get adequate amount of nourishments and the detoxes itself. I drink water every morning, glass of water with pink salt. And even if you're exposed to toxins, these two habits can actually begin a significant amount of change in your body and make progress. The other stuff you can do incrementally. So instead of having juices, replace it with water for your kids, especially. Instead of having snacks, have a fruit. So these are simple things. And as we go through the weekend, I'll be telling you more and more. I'll be overemphasizing what you should do rather than what you shouldn't do. So it's about making baby steps every single day. Rome was never built in a day. And if you make a single change every week or every month, eventually you'll get to a point where you're maybe 70% there, 80% there. Many of us will never get 100% there. Just like in our Christian life, most of us will never get sinless perfection, but every day we try to get closer and closer to Christ and see more clearly and be more like Him. So it's a process of growth. So don't be scared that you have to go tomorrow and make a full upheaval of your entire life. That's not what I'm asking. I'm just telling you all the things that you might need to look at. And for different people, it's different things. So some persons, it may be the pot that's making them sick. For somebody else, it may be that they're eating bread and that causes arthritis. For somebody else, it may be the sugar that's causing their diabetes. So individually, things may be different on different levels of importance for you, but try to figure it out. But all these things are going to be relevant eventually.
Excellent. Thank you for that. A couple more questions. Someone said here, are coconut water from cans and boxes safe to consume? Like those, I've seen a couple of different brands, but you see them at Whole Foods.
Here again, we're going to exercise some common sense. The question is, are coconut water from cans and boxes safe? Well, all right, so here's what I say. The ultimate best coconut water is going to be from the actual coconut plant. So you get the coconut and you cut it and you drink it immediately. That's the best way. But if you're going to compare a coconut water in a can to a soda, of course, the coconut water in the can is going to be superior. And so all things are relative. So if coconut water in a box or can is all you have, which is what I see here in the US, you don't have fresh coconuts, then it's going to be better to consume that than be consuming what you get from your fast food joints. So yes, consume your coconut water in the box and can until you can get the one that we have in the Caribbean. So is it completely safe? No, there are going to be plastics there and so on. But relatively, it's better than what you have available. That's my answer.
And just as a side note, there are some places in certain communities, predominantly where you have a lot of folks from the Caribbean and Latin America, you can find these places where they sell coconuts. And you can also find vendors on the street who they will often cut them for you and you can drink it fresh.
Yes.
Here is another question. Someone asks, what is wrong with eating sugar? And they said these are basic carbs, affordable carb. And then someone else asks, what about dumplings and bananas, yam, etc.?
Okay, all right. So sugar is a highly refined extract from plants. So a good comparison to make is there is a drug called cocaine. It's made from a plant, the poppy leaf plant. In South America, the natives drink poppy leaf tea, and that's perfectly fine. And they are fine. They're not addicts. They drink the leaf of this plant as a medicine, and they're fine. But when you take that plant and purify it and extract and make it into a powder, this highly refined concentrated chemical, you get a dangerous drug. When you take plants and you get rid of the fiber and get rid of all the nutrition and they refine out this powder that you call sugar, it becomes something that becomes damaging. It becomes not a food anymore, but a chemical that is used to sweeten foods and will send your blood sugar up. So sugar is a leading cause of diabetes, yes, as your blood sugar go up, your insulin goes up, and that is because of obesity. As your sugar go up, your immune system gets weak, so you get risk of infections. Your cancer rates go up. Alzheimer's disease is now classified by many as diabetes type 3, where too much sugar exposure to your brain causes you to have memory loss in certain areas with dementia. The diseases linked to sugar consumption is enormous. So sugar, every single expert on the planet, bar none, will agree that refined sugar in all its forms is bad for human consumption. There are no experts anywhere doing any research. Now, besides sugar, I'm going to add grains. Grains now refer to rice, flour, including wheat flour, corn, barley, oats. These grains, which were for many, many centuries the basis of human existence, have now been genetically modified, hybridized, ultra-processed, sprayed with chemicals so that they all are now harmful for you. So they equally with sugar will raise your blood sugar, give you diabetes, give you obesity, cause your belly fat. There have been books written, which I will tell you about, Obesity Code, Wheat Belly by Dr. William Davis, No Grain, No Pain by Dr. Osborne. Tons of research done in showing that grains in the form that we have them are now disease causing. So what you should eat: staples. Eat your bananas, eat your plantains, eat your yams, your potatoes, eat your pumpkins, eat your breadfruit. These are what you should eat. These are the healthy things that are available now. Eat your vegetables, eat your fruits, eat your nuts, eat your seeds, eat your legumes. So there are tons of healthy foods that we can consume. That wasn't tonight's presentation, but you'll get that presentation. But there are tons of healthy foods that you can eat every day to nourish your body and avoid sugar and grains, which are causing you to be sick.
Well, one question I have here, someone asked about hypertension. If you suffer from hypertension, should you still drink warm water with pink salt daily?
Absolutely. So people who are of African descent seem to have a tendency to retain salt, but it doesn't mean that we don't need salt. We absolutely need salt for our nerves to function, for our stomach to function, for our brains to function, for our heart to function. We need salt. What is needed is education on the type of salt, on the amount of salt. So we need to consume salt in the amount of maybe half a teaspoon in total per day. Now, pink Himalayan salt and Celtic sea salt is different from regular table salt. Regular table salt has 3 minerals: sodium, chloride, and iodine. Pink Himalayan salt contains over 60 minerals. Celtic sea salt over 80 minerals, including copper, zinc, selenium, manganese, iron, silver, gold, calcium, magnesium, things that you need. Your body needs 60 minerals every day to function. And most of us are deficient because we do not get foods that contain them. They are in these salts. So by adding these salts to your water, yes, you will nourish your body. And Celtic sea salt, for example, is rich in magnesium, which is why it's kind of wet. And this lowers your blood pressure. So yes, if you're hypertensive, diabetic, everybody needs to consume these salts regularly. And I do it in my water in the morning to make sure that I'm well nourished.
Okay, I'll take 2 more questions here. This one says, what is the best superfood to lower cholesterol?
All right, superfood to lower cholesterol. All right, so I have a couple of videos on TikTok about cholesterol. And cholesterol is going to be something that's produced in your body, in your liver, as a result of inflammation in your body. So foods that will lower inflammation are going to be the best foods to lower your cholesterol. And these are going to be including things like your turmeric and your ginger, things like spirulina, things like moringa oleifera leaf, the powder of that plant, raw powder. Those are my top foods to lower your cholesterol. I'm going to add to that also garlic. Garlic is in fact a superfood. So garlic has potent anti-inflammatory benefits and can lower cholesterol based on how it works to reduce inflammation.
I have one other question that I would like you to clarify. The Environmental Working Group. Is that the name of the company you mentioned during your presentation?
An American nonprofit organization, EWG,
Okay.
Environmental Working Group. They publish data on foods and toxins and healthy foods. Here on their website is very accessible and have tons of information. Yes.
All right, Dr. Thomas. I think we're going to hold on the remaining questions because we can probably do this for another 20 minutes or so. But I sincerely appreciate this presentation. I learned so much, and I'm certainly doing some self-reflection and evaluation for me personally, and I'm sure many of your viewers are doing the same as well. So we want to thank you for the time you took to present tonight, and we're definitely looking forward to your presentation tomorrow. Are there any parting words you want to share with us and the members who've joined us, especially the folks online?
All right, so tonight was the opening presentation to lay a foundation. There's a lot more to come. You don't want to miss tomorrow. We talk about rest and health. We talk about diet. You do not want to miss any presentation because it's a complete package and putting together pieces that will give you the tools to transform your life. Now listen, I've been doing this work for 20 years, but in the last 2 years, I've now had the reach to be able to give these talks to people in every corner of the world. And by listening just to instructions given through mediums like these, thousands of lives have been transformed. People come up to me everywhere I go. I was in Cayman last week, and a random guy walked up to me and said, "You're that guy on TikTok. My grandfather had high cholesterol. He followed your instructions, and his cholesterol is now low, and he's off his diabetes medication." I was in England. Somebody walked up to me. "Dr. Thomas, it's the first I'm meeting about I've been following instructions for months. I've lost 60 pounds." So what I'm teaching here is not just based on research in a book that I've seen. I've lived these experiences. I've seen people reverse diseases that they thought were irreversible by following simple instructions. I run a 14-day flat belly challenge, a diet program online, and a new one starts on Sunday. And over last year, we did 7,000 clients, lost an average of 7 pounds each. About 50,000 pounds was lost last year. Persons got off their medication. Persons' skin conditions improved. Their energy levels went up. Persons' diabetes went down. Had persons come off insulin. Persons who I've never met by following instructions. So I can guarantee you that what I'm telling you in these next presentations will be life transforming and life changing. Don't miss any presentation. You will be better off for it. So that's my parting words. See you all tomorrow at 12 noon.
Excellent. We thank you so much, Dr. Thomas. We thank you all for joining us, and we are definitely excited to have you back again with us tomorrow when we meet and hear more from Dr. Thomas, and it's going to be an exciting time. We're looking forward to seeing you all. Have a great evening, a great Sabbath. Bye for now, and we will see you tomorrow back here on our platform and for our live service beginning at 11 o'clock. Bye for now, everyone. Have a blessed evening.